When you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line. When victory alone isn't enough, you chase something greater, no matter how difficult the path. On the dirt, in the sand, and beyond. The new 2024 Ridgeline, Passport, and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate. Glad to be your host on this edition of Bayou Time. Joining us via Zoom, we have Chett Chiasson, the Executive Director of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Chett, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me again today.
All right. I know you have a lot of work, a lot of projects ongoing at the port. Can you give us some up-to-date recent accounts of what's going on, especially with the new airport corridor that you got going on over there?
Yeah, obviously we've been working on this airport corridor for a couple years now. It was a project that, as you see on the picture there, it's a bridge that crosses Bayou Lafourche with an access road between LA1 and LA 3235, which is the back road where, it's a 4-lane highway back there. So this is, critical as we want to have a really, good, safe, and secure access to the airport with, the 130,000 people going in and out of there on an annual basis. We wanted to have better access for the community, for safety purposes, for ambulances, for school buses, for all of that, as well as the ability to move people and cargo to and from the airport in a much better, safer, and quicker way. So we're very excited about that project. We anticipate it being complete by the middle of or June of 2025. So that's been, again, a couple of years ago, we began the project, and it's moving along very well. And, it'll be ready for operation by June of 2025.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, I know bridge projects, and they're not quick, that's for sure. They take a long time. A lot of people don't understand that, but that it just is what it is with bridge projects for some reason.
That's correct. And when you're looking at this type of project with the road and the bridges are complicated. Takes a lot of engineering and a lot of work to get them where they need to be. And you're looking at a project that's about a $34 or so million project. So there's nothing to sneeze at. It's the good thing is that this is all levels of government working together. There's federal dollars in here, about 16.4 million, and then the other share of those funds, half of it's coming from the state of Louisiana through capital outlay, and then the other half is split between the parish government and the Port Commission to get that project fully funded.
Well, good. And now, once you have that project funded, I know you're also building a new terminal at the airport itself. Can you give us an update on that as well?
Yeah, well, we took over the airport back in 2001, and ever since then, we've invested a considerable amount of funds back there to get it to where it is today with a 6,500-foot runway, with a full parallel taxiway, instrument landing system, about 45 or so fixed-based aircraft there, most of those being helicopters. But we're finally at that point where we're building a brand new terminal at the airport that'll, be a really nice state-of-the-art executive-style terminal at the airport to be able to attract, again, more and better business back there, so we can continue to grow the aviation side of our community and the Port Commission's assets for our community. So we're really excited about that and what that's going to bring, and looking forward to that into the future. So that's under construction now. We're basically at it's fully funded. We're doing the sub-base work now, and that project is going to be moving along very well, and we should be complete with that by the end of next year of 2025.
Okay, and what process was used to fund that one as well?
So that's, obviously, so always some port funding, port commission funding in there because you always have to put up some funds. But we have about 50% of the cost of the terminal building. It's about a $4.5 million project. About 50% of the cost of the terminal building has come from the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, from the federal government through some of the funding programs that they have. And then another portion of it is some state DOTD aviation dollars, about 10% of that, and then the rest is Port Authority, Port Commission funds.
Okay, and I see it was about a little over $4 million. Was that the total price for it?
That's correct. Total price about $4 million. Correct.
And that was who's a contractor on that? Was that a Byron Tower?
Yes, that's correct. Byron Tower contract on that part.
Another local contractor here getting local work, so that's always good to see. So,
and on the bridge, it's sea level. So we have really good, sizable projects that our local contractors are winning contracts on, and we're always happy to have local engineers designing local projects with local contractors doing those projects.
Well, it's good. And it's also good to see those multi levels of government come together and be able to work together. Sometimes it can create headaches when you're dealing with multiple agencies, but if you get together and you work together smoothly, you can implement a project like this that you couldn't do on your own.
That's correct. And it's when you can put different sources of funding together, it's not so burdensome on one particular source. Everybody working together, we can do some really good projects.
Okay, we got only a couple seconds left. We need to take another quick break, but when we come back, I know there's some more projects that the port has in store for the future. We can talk a little bit about that right after the break. Okay, stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Welcome back to Bayou Time. This is Jacob DeGate, and I'm here visiting with Chett Chiasson, who's the Executive Director of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Chett, I know we were talking a little bit about the airport projects you got going on, but that's not all that the port has going on. I understand there's a new bulkhead project. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have a bulkhead project. It's about a $20 million, about an $18 million project in Port Fourchon. Completing a waterfront bulkhead, steel sheet pile bulkhead to complete flotation canal into a new slip D development. And that really maintains the integrity of that land that we've built with dredge material over the last several years. So we're moving that project forward. It should be under construction now. It's under contract, and we're making progress. Notice to proceed has been given. So that's about a 1,600 linear foot of waterfront bulkhead being constructed. And we're, working hard, just continuing to build out our northern expansion. Now, we anticipate that bulkhead, until and unless we have more demand on our waterfront in our northern expansion, that bulkhead would be, at least in Slip D, would be the last one for a little bit. We have another bulkhead we're going to build in Bayou Lafourche at the corner of Bayou Lafourche and Flotation Canal, and get that done. And then we're going to put all of our focus on our deepening and our new Fourchon Island development into the future. So we're excited about where we're going in the port. Business has been good. We've had, some new lease requests and lease some new property in the port over the last few months. So we're excited about that. And looking forward to, what the future holds there. Now, in terms of the future, we're always talking about in South Louisiana and in particular in our region, in Houma, the Terrebonne, and Lafourche Parish. We always talk about resiliency, right? Be it, hurricane protection, marsh creation, what have you. So we're in the middle of working with some CPRA funds to do the Fourchon resiliency study, which is going to look at basically from our east jetty in the port, going about 5.5 miles to the east towards Grand Isle, and looking at a resiliency study and what would be the best way to protect that area. We anticipate some breakwaters coming into the future, as well as some more beachhead or headland renourishment. So we're going through the process of doing the resiliency study to kind of figure out what that's going to cost, what that would look like, what kind of project that could be to really make Fourchon a more resilient place, providing that protection for the future. And then as soon as that's done and submitted to CPRA, then the plan is to move forward and build some of the projects that are put forth in that resiliency plan.
Well, that certainly is a wonderful, I guess, forethought on how to protect for the future. I know because the storms won't stop coming, unfortunately, and you got to be able to respond to them, and you got to be able to keep what you have, certainly.
Absolutely. And look, we know where we are. We're immediately on the Gulf of Mexico, and that's the best place to be to service offshore energy on any given day other than a hurricane day. But we have to prepare for, those hurricanes and what happens when they come. And, Port Fourchon's and its customer base, our tenants, are a very resilient group of people and customers, and our communities are very resilient, right? So Fourchon is an extension of our community, and we do everything we possibly can to build properly, elevated, hardening structures, doing the protection work, rebuilding the marsh areas around us, to do all those things to remain as resilient as possible as we continue to move forward into the future.
Wonderful. And I also see that you were appointed to the Louisiana Ports and Waterways Investment Commission. Can you tell us, what that's all about?
Yeah, so that commission was brought about at the last legislative session, really wanting to put some real data behind and information behind, best way to strategically plan our ports across the entire state of Louisiana. And, all of our individual ports, we have 32 public ports in the state of Louisiana. We all do something a little bit different, right? We communicate constantly. But in terms of, and we all have our own master plans and strategies on how we want to build up the port, build business, bring it to our communities, creating jobs and all those things. And we continue to talk to our legislators about that, talk to the governor, talk to the staffs, all of those things. However, what the state itself doesn't have is a strategic plan or a good strategy for making those investments into our ports as we move forward into the future. I think one of the keys to all of this is that there is a consensus among legislators and all of our agencies in government that ports need to be invested in more because they bring 1 in 5 jobs in the state of Louisiana and economic investment and all of those things to our communities. So this group that I'm proud to have been appointed to, we have 6 ports that are part of this group, among other folks from different agencies, from DOTD and LED and others. A gentleman by the name of Mark Hebert is the chairman of that group, and we're working towards getting that strategic plan put together. So we're excited about that and what that's going to bring, and stay tuned to what's going to come out of that commission.
Well, congratulations to being appointed to that, and we look forward to seeing the fruits of your efforts. Thank you very much for coming on and telling us a little bit about the port. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
All right. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.